So why did I move from Panama City, Panama to Playa del Carmen, Mexico? First, I'll let you know that I own a couple businesses in Panama, and I go back to Panama City quite a lot. It actually is about 5 to 6 times a year. Panama will always be a part of my life, as I have a lot of friends there. But I moved away because of a couple things that were better for me personally. First, if it's going to be 30 degrees outside, which is quite warm, and there's a high level of humidity, there's gotta be a beach. And in Playa del Carmen, I can literally walk to the beach. Now I need to clarify something. In Panama City, it's roughly about 34 degrees during the summer, about 85% humidity. At 9 o'clock in the morning, I would be sweating beads, whereas in Playa del Carmen, where I am right now, I'm not. When I mentioned this to a couple Panamanian friends, they said, well, you could just jump in a car, jump over the bridge, and you're in Panama Pacifico, which is probably the closest beach to Panama City. And yes, it is nice, but you do need to jump into a car, and you sometimes get caught in a lot of traffic, which could be a lot of time in traffic. Let me explain. In Panama, when the Panamanian people aren't happy about what happens with the government, they protest. Now, this doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, they shut down all the major arteries. You could be in traffic for a very long time. The closest white sand beach that I would compare to Playa del Carmen is Playa Caracol. It's beautiful, and it's roughly about a 75-minute drive without traffic. But it's even taken me up to 3 to 4 hours to get there when the Panamanian people are protesting. And when they're protesting, I literally felt like I was trapped inside of a city. In Playa del Carmen, I moved to a studio apartment, which is what I was renting in Panama City, because that's all I really need being solo and by myself. I'm literally 5 minutes to the gym that I walk to almost every day, and then about 8-minute walk to white sand beaches. The studio here that is about 12,000 pesos. So to give you an idea, the peso is going down and the US dollar is going up. So when I first moved in, my rent was $620, and now my rent is $595. Always nice when rent is going down. And a 1-bedroom apartment that I did look at here was 18,000 pesos, or roughly $895. To compare that, in Panama, when I was staying in PHTOC, the Ocean Club, or what's formerly called the Trump Building, my rent was $1,300. Yes, it had a gym in the building, multiple pools and everything else, but again, it didn't have a beach. So I mentioned hot weather. Yes, in Panama, the humidity really hits you. As soon as you get out of the airport, that humidity wall just hits you, and you're like, okay, welcome to Panama City. And it's like that almost every single day of the year. Now in Playa del Carmen, the weather can fluctuate because it's on a similar weather pattern to North America, meaning in the summer months, the sunrise comes up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And right now, January 4th, 2025, the sun comes up at 7:30 in the morning. But it's also winter down here, so things are getting a little bit cooler. I'm wearing a dress shirt, and I wouldn't be able to wear this in Panama at 9 o'clock in the morning because I'd be sweating beads. Right now, average temperature is roughly about 28 degrees, and it's a very nice and refreshing breeze, as you can see in the video. Another reason why Playa del Carmen is I came 2 or 3 times prior to moving here, and I noticed that there's quite a great community. I really do enjoy the community. Now in Panama, they did have an entrepreneur community, but it's just not the same. The community here, there's a PDC fitness club, it's free. They work out, I believe, at 6:30 in the morning on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays, I believe, is on the beach, and Thursdays is in the park, which is right back here. And it's about 60 or so really happy, fit people. There's also an ice bath community. So there's ice baths 2 days a week out on the beaches. And there's a co-working group that a buddy of mine runs from back in Canada. And there's roughly 40 to 50 people part of that group. So right there, that is a great community to meet a lot of similar or like-minded people. In Panama, I just noticed being there for 2 years is a lot of the expats actually live outside of the city. And I was living in the city. And the reason why is because I needed proximity to an airport. So this brings me to why I'm in Playa del Carmen. For me personally, I wanted to be closer to home. I'm originally from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and I wanted to be closer to family and friends. And I noticed that a lot of people, when they're going on vacation, they're not going to Panama, they're going to Cancun, Playa del Carmen, or somewhere in the Caribbean for their vacations. I have a better chance of seeing them on their vacations. But also for me, I wanted something that was easier to get back in case I needed to be there ASAP. In Panama is always Houston or Toronto. Well, Toronto was a 2 or 3 hour layover and then a 5-hour flight across the country. Houston was always a layover, or I was there overnight. Then there's obviously LA, which is also a 3-hour layover and then up. It just ended up being a full day of travel or more coming from Panama, because sometimes you miss your flight and then you're stuck in an airport. It just ends up getting to be, for me, just too much, as it happened over and over and over again. In Cancun, it's a direct flight from Cancun straight to Vancouver, which is a great option if I did want to spend the money. Now it comes down to amenities. So in Panama City, of course, there's 2 million people. In Playa del Carmen, there is about 400 to 500,000. But to give you an idea, in Panama City, they have 2 million people in the city center, and you only really spend time in certain areas. For me, in Playa del Carmen, there was a lot more opportunities because Cancun is about 800,000 people, and then you drive half an hour and you're in Puerto Morelos, which is where a lot of Canadians are, so you have a lot more opportunity to go on adventures, cenotes, beaches, etc. Another 30-minute drive, you're in Playa del Carmen, where I am right now. Another 30 minutes from that is Puerto Aventuras, a luxury gated community. Again, great place to go for restaurants and bring your parents if they're coming down. Another 30 minutes from that is Tulum. Tulum is roughly about 60,000 people, but it's the fastest growing city in Mexico, and for good reason. There's a ton of development going on there. So you can see there's a lot of different opportunities. There's cenotes, there's adventure parks, there's a ton to do. And when my friends come down here, we rent a car, and there's this like endless opportunities within a roughly 2-hour drive. Even when I mention to my friends in Panama that I'm living in Playa del Carmen, their immediate answer is like, ooh, it's really nice there. For me, Playa del Carmen just ended up being a lot easier, and it's a lot cheaper flights going from Cancun to, say, San Jose. It was a lot more expensive going from Panama to San Jose, which is only like an hour flight. There's just not a lot of options flying within Latin America. Okay, so now I'm gonna go over traveling around. I did mention when I was in Panama City to get to Playa Caracol, it's 75 minutes without traffic, but without a car, that shuttle or that driver is gonna be anywhere upwards of about $60, and it could go up to about $100 depending on a few things. If I wanted to travel anywhere within that 2-hour window of Cancun to Tulum, I usually catch ADO. ADO in Canada are pronounced ADIO because I'm in Latin America. It is a really nice bus, and it's like a Greyhound. I catch it all the time. It's very nice, air conditioned, very comfortable. I've never spent over $17 to go from one spot to another. So for me personally, Playa del Carmen just seemed to be a lot easier, and it's a lot cheaper as the peso is going down. I'm actually spending a lot less on a grocery bill and eating a lot healthier in Playa del Carmen, as there is a lot of health food stores here, as there's a lot of very fit individuals. And that community is great. If you enjoyed this video, please check out my other comparisons or my different experiences as I move around Latin America.